Russiagate, what, 5.0? I don't know what to call this segment. Like, I want to say Russia 2.0. Like, no, we're not at 2. Like, it's like
No,
Russia,
I think it's no.
Russia
Well,
gets
they've done it
5.0.
every national election since 16. So 16, 18, 20,
16.
22. So it's 5. Yeah.
Yeah, 5. I was right, 5.
Yeah.
So Russiagate 5.0.
Yeah.
They're using Navalny as a way to spearhead this and accelerate the anti-Russian fever in the media. And now they are saying that it's clear that Putin wants Trump to win, even though he said he wants Biden to win, which I did a hotspot. At first, my first reaction to the story where Putin said he wants Biden to win was that he was trolling. That was my first initial reaction. But then I thought about it. I did a hotspot video and explained exactly why. That actually makes sense. Because Biden is very predictable. Putin outmaneuvered him every step of the way.
Yeah, right. Why wouldn't he want Biden? Right.
Yeah, of course he wants Biden.
Why wouldn't he want Biden?
And Trump is actually confusing to deal with Putin because I explained in my hotspot video how Trump was actually extremely anti-Russia, which is why Russiagate never made sense because all you had to do was look at his policies. Like he armed Ukrainian rebels. You guys know he impeached them because he threatened to withhold aid from Ukraine, which means he's funding Ukraine. Right. So he's funding Putin's geopolitical enemies. He tried to overthrow Nicolas Maduro, a close Putin ally in Venezuela. He opposed Putin.
We were this close, right? Remember he said that at a recent speech. We were so we were this close. We were about to destroy the country and take the oil.
So I didn't have a platform back then, but anyone who followed and knew about geopolitics knew Russiagate was bullshit because of this stuff. You know what I mean? But they still went with that narrative. That's why Putin actually don't want Trump, because Trump is confusing. Because Trump would be like, man, this nigga Putin dope as fuck.
Yeah.
I like to cut a Putin jib. Russia's dope. He would say all this good thing with Russia, and then he will order CIA to do cyber attacks into Russian infrastructure. Hold on, let me show you guys this damn article. CIA cyber attacks Russia. Because Trump did something that even Barack Obama didn't do. You guys just have to trust me for now because I got to find the receipt. But Donald Trump approved a CIA attacks into Russian financial infrastructure. And there was a report where you had financial institutions in Russia that was hacked by the CIA. This was something that the Obama administration directly declined to do because it's so provocative. You know how they made up Russiagate? Imagine if the KGB or any Russian institution literally hacked into United States banks. That is what the CIA did under Donald Trump. Literally one of the most crazy anti-Russian policies we've seen in my lifetime. Please forgive me. I might find the receipt later, but please forget. Just believe me for now. If you want to find the receipt, I did a hotspot video about it. I can't find the receipt for some reason. But that was Trump did. He ordered the CIA to do Russia cyber attacks. But despite that, people pretend that Trump was pro-Russia. That's exactly why Putin was like, nigga, I don't want him back. He confuses me. And one second he praised me, and then the second he would have cyber attacks on Russia approved. He opposed me geopolitically. So before I play the video, I just want to show you guys this how Russiagate is being recycled for the 5th time. I think we calculated. Putin looms over 3rd successive U.S. election. Man, this guy's powerful, isn't he? He able to very accurately take out his political enemies without mass casualties. He able to do mass disinformation campaigns. You know what I mean? And he also can influence the United States elections like this. Isn't this funny? Now, last segment, I'm gonna show you guys this. I'm gonna show you guys this video where, and you guys gotta stick with me like maybe the first 2 minutes because they're gonna set it up. But trust me, shit really heats up when where the guy at? This is Joe Walsh.
Oh yeah, him. Yeah, oh yeah.
So, Keaton, feel free to interrupt, but you got to stick with me for maybe the first like 2 minutes.
Yeah, no,
because this shit gets really good once this guy chimes in. Once Joe Walsh chimes in, this shit I was literally dying laughing.
I'm embarrassed to say this guy has not blocked me yet because I have baited this guy into blocking me multiple times. I just don't have the following. If I get more followers, follow me on Twitter so that I could troll this guy into blocking me. That's my goal. It's my life goal is to be blocked by Joe Walsh.
Dude, Michael McFall, Joe Walsh, probably the most unhinged people on Twitter.
Yeah.
like liberals wanted to ban Alex Jones, bro. Alex Jones is pretty damn tame compared to a lot of these fucking neocons I see on Twitter. If you see this guy's Twitter account, fucking unhinged, bro. Like he's way worse than Alex Jones. The same with Michael McFall. So hang in with me before, but because it really gets good when he chime in. But feel free to interrupt anytime. I'm gonna let them set the segment up though. And
making a pretty astounding claim tonight in a Fox town hall. This, well, you have to hear for yourself.
Navalny is a very sad situation, and he's very brave. He was a very brave guy because he went back. He could have stayed away, and frankly, probably would have been a lot better off staying away and talking from outside of the country as opposed to having to go back in. And it's a horrible thing, but it's happening in our country too. We are turning into a communist country in many ways. And if you look at
drain the swamp,
I'm the
Navalny.
leading candidate. I got indicted. I never heard of being indicted before. I got indicted 4 times.
Trump fucking cracks me up because I can't believe people take him seriously as a thought leader. But his reaction to Navalny is actually brilliant. He ties himself to Navalny, and it's such a great political move. And to me, it's fucking hilarious. It's such a great move to do that because he actually has a case. Because liberals pretend Putin is the worst of all time because he goes after his political enemies as they go after their political enemies. Right. So Trump, it's brilliant for him to compare himself to Navalny because he, even though it's not 100% accurate, he highlighting the fact that liberals act exactly like the quote unquote authoritarian thugs that they demonize. So it's a brilliant technical move on his point, and liberals know it. So watch how they've been doing this meltdown for maybe the last 3 days now over these comments. I just only got time for one segment, my friends, but I can show you so many of these. But before I continue, Keaton, anything you want to add before we move on?
Just real quick. I mean, unrelated but funny. Trump had a funny line about Tim Scott at this town hall.
Yes, I saw that.
They were asking him who was he going to pick for VP, and so he's like, "I'm thinking about that guy over there, Tim Scott." He says, "That guy's been better for me than he's been for himself."
Yes, I saw that, man. Trump is fucking hilarious. Like I said, when I hear him speak, it baffles me. People take him seriously as a thought leader, but he's fucking funny.
He is funny.
And no one can deny that. If you find him serious, if you take him seriously as a leader, that's an embarrassing reflection on you, as far as I'm concerned. But no one can deny he's funny. His response as soon as I heard what Trump said in response to the Navalny news, I was like, God damn it, that's perfect. That's exactly what you're supposed to say right now. And liberals know it. Now, listen to the reaction they had in this segment. That's what this is about, essentially. So I'll let it play some more.
Just having to go back in, and it's a horrible thing. But it's happening in our country, too. We are turning into a communist country in many ways. And if you look at it, I'm the leading candidate. I got indicted. I never heard of being indicted before. I got indicted 4 times. I have 8 or 9 trials, all because of the fact that I'm, and you know this, all because of the fact that I'm in politics. It's a form of Navalny. It is a form of.
It's a form of Navalny.
Communism or fascism.
Well, I don't have to tell you guys that, but you guys know that fascists are the enemy of communists, right? It was the communists who defeated the fascists, right? The first thing Hitler did was ban the socialists. The first thing Zelensky did was ban socialist parties. Fascists and socialists and communists are mortal enemies. Socialists and communists are mortal enemies of fascism. I don't have to tell you guys that, though. It's obvious. You guys know that. But let's continue. Because despite the meltdown they're about to have, you guys see the face she has? This is great line of attack. And you guys can disagree with me. I'm okay with that. You guys can disagree with me in the chat. But this is actually technically a great move from Trump to make this comparison. Because now they are forced to acknowledge it, and they can't. So they have a meltdown. Now remember, it gets really good when Joe Walsh chimes in. That when it really picks up. Any words, or we can continue?
No, we're good. Yep.
That's right. Donald Trump is comparing his $355 million fine for fraudulently inflating the value of his properties to a political prisoner who stood up to a dictator, was poisoned, thrown in a penal colony, and has since died under mysterious circumstances.
Now do Julian Assange.
Right.
President Biden responding tonight saying that Vladimir Putin is in fact responsible. Quote, Trump fails to even condemn him. It's outrageous. Joining me now, former Congressman Joe Walsh and political
wait till Joe Walsh chimes in. Hopefully
commentator Maria Cardona. Let's just start right here, because the idea that you have a former president, forget a leading candidate, a former president suggesting somehow that we are turning into a communist country it's mind-boggling.
It's astounding, Laura. And it is something that should, we say this too often that it's kind of lost meaning, but we should be very concerned, very scared about the smidgen of possibility, perhaps even more of a smidgen, that this man can enter the Oval Office again.
Oh, I'd say it's more than a
everything that he's
smidgen.
talking about.
I'd say it's a little more than a smidgen at this point. Yes, that's a big fucking smidgen. It's the biggest smidgen I ever seen.
Yeah, Keaton, we should be very worried about Donald Trump.
Okay, well, this is an example where it's just so obvious that they have their segment structured beforehand, where literally no matter what Donald Trump said, they would have to say he's being soft on Putin. Trump can say, I want to bend Vladimir Putin over this stool and fuck him till he dies. And they would be like, can you believe how soft he was on Vladimir Putin in that interview? It's just amazing, the appeasement of Vladimir Putin. They would say this no matter what. They have to. That's why they're kind of struggling, right? It's kind of slow-paced right now because no matter what he says, they have to frame it as he's a Putin puppet.
No, trust me, it picks up really good around time that Joe Wall chimes in. So let's continue.
Smidgen of possibility, perhaps even more of a smidgen, that this man can enter the Oval Office again.
And by the way, he said they pretend it's so bad that Donald Trump is gonna enter the White House again. Because the alternative is the guy who's funding a genocide.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, no, they're really afraid.
The liberals understand that this shit never ever going to work ever again.
Well, you guys got to watch. I mean, you guys have to do a segment. We did a segment on this morning. The Joe and Mika saying that the Republicans have surrendered to communism.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You have to cover that. That is fucking hilarious. That is amazing.
That's going to get me and CJ a heart attack.
Yeah, you guys should do it together.
Let's continue because I really wanted to get to Joe Walsh because she's like an amateur. Wait till you guys get to Joe Walsh, bro. He's fucking flips out at Trump comparing himself to Navalny. I know people say I'll say his name wrong. It doesn't matter what his fucking name is. I don't care. Fuck his name. Anyway, let's continue.
Because everything that he's talking about, everything that he's saying are full-on lies, but his supporters believe him. They not only believe him, they eat it up, and every single time that he is in court, it helps his support among those who are following him, off the cliff, frankly. What it doesn't do, though, is it doesn't help him in the general.
This is considered serious political analysis by RBN.
Well, if you notice, this is what I'm talking about. Notice, everybody in the audience, she didn't address a single thing he said in the video.
Not one.
Not one. Not a single thing she's saying is in response to anything that was in the video, which is what my point is. No matter what he said in that video, she would have to say this exact same thing.
Yeah, well said. I'll let it continue.
General election. And this, I think, is going to be something that he's going to find out here pretty quickly. When he wraps up the nomination, which he's about to do, he's going to run into the general election, which is where all of these convictions, everything that he's saying about or not saying about Navalny and Vladimir Putin, not being able to condemn Vladimir Putin for the murder of his political opponent.
Everything he's not saying about Navalny.
Admires him for that.
Now they're upset about what he's not saying. Like I said, he could say anything. It didn't matter what he said. It did not matter one lick what he said. They have to react this exact same way no matter what.
I'm sorry. I'm just cracking up because these people are so fucking delusional. You got Joe Biden, who is historically underwater. He's fucked in Michigan, fam. Like, I don't really have time to cover how fucked he is with the abandoned Biden movement. I saw a segment from Breaking Points of all people where they covered how Democrats are worried that the non-committed vote in Michigan is going to be a huge percent and embarrass Biden. Meanwhile, she's sitting here pretending, and this is what they've been doing for weeks now, that Donald Trump is screwed because Americans are going to see his court cases and turn against them instead of the exact opposite. Polls have shown.
Poll. Americans no longer concerned about inflation as their number one issue. 71% of Americans say their top issue is what Trump didn't say about Navalny.
Oh my!
A huge Biden surge. The sleeping tiger of Biden supporters has awakened because Trump did not sufficiently condemn Putin for the alleged murder of an obscure political actor in a foreign country who they never heard of until Bono mentioned him at a concert.
That is legit. I'm so glad you summed up that way because that is legitimately the argument that she's making.
Yeah.
You know how the majority of the American people want peace talks in Ukraine. I report on this poll in the hotspot video. Most people want peace talks in Ukraine, but according to this deeply serious political analysis, the American people going to turn on Trump for not sounding like a neocon regarding Russia. 80% of Democrats want a ceasefire in Gaza, and they just watched the Biden administration block a ceasefire attempt 5 times in the UN. And you think that Trump is screwed because what he said about Navalny? This is the deeply serious political analysis that Mediaite ranked as more reliable than RBN. Think about that for a second.
They're going to start putting those stickers. You know how they put the Biden stickers on the gas pumps? Biden did this with the high prices. They're going to start putting stickers. Navalny did this, at the supermarket.
Yeah, let's continue. We didn't get to Joe Walsh yet. We didn't get to his part yet.
The nomination, which he's about to do, he's going to run into the general election, which is where all of these convictions, everything that he's saying about or not saying about Navalny and Vladimir Putin, not being able to condemn Vladimir Putin for the murder of his political opponent. In fact, I kind of think that he admires him for that.
It's a big issue in Minnesota.
All of that is going to really affect him among independents, among former Republicans, among people who he needs if he's going to have a chance of winning.
Oh, here we go, fam, bro. If he thought this shit, if he thought it was popping before, he was just watching his Trump comments and he was seething in the background. This is historical shit that we about to watch here, fam.
It's ugly, and we don't say this enough about Trump. God, he pisses me off. This is anti-American. This isn't the first time he said this. He's always saying crap like this happens here, and we kill people here, and we're bad here, and we've got bad guys here. This is ugly, blame America, anti-American BS.
Trump says we kill people, guys.
We kill people.
Trump said we are the bad guys. He's a fucking grown child. He's when people say that American kill people, which is a fucking fact, he has a meltdown and said, this is mean, this is ugly, this is anti-American. This is serious, deeply serious news according to Mediaite. This guy having a meltdown over people criticizing America. But let's anything you want to say, and I want to continue this glorious rant by our friend here.
Well, this is an extension of, this is why, these meltdowns didn't start with Trump's Bill O'Reilly Super Bowl interview, but that was sort of the peak, right? Where O'Reilly said Putin's a killer, and Trump says, well, you think we're so innocent? We have a lot of killers here. They can't handle that. Our friend Anis Shivani, great writer, put it beautifully. He said Trump does not traffic rhetorically in the fake innocence of the American empire. And that's beautifully put. That's beautifully put. And that is what offends them so much, is that he doesn't shroud this country's misdeeds in this sort of fake innocence, right? And they can't have that. They can't have that. That's too damaging. That shines too much light on it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, guys. I had to play the rant from the beginning because I'm fucking about to cry, bro. I'm there crying because I'm laughing. Bro, this meltdown is glorious. I'm gonna let more of it play. I promise, guys. But this shit is so fucking funny.
Ugly, and we don't say this enough about Trump. God, he pisses me off. This is anti-American. This isn't the first time he said this. He's always saying crap like this happens here, and we kill people here, and we're bad here, and we've got bad guys here. This is ugly, blame America, anti-American BS. And I wish Biden and look, my former colleagues aren't going to call this out. But I hope the Democrats jump on this, because this is anti-American crap that needs to be called out.
He's suggesting that his legal troubles are a kind of Navalny. I guess he's trying to use that phrase to suggest I don't know what. But
yes, you do. You know exactly what he's saying. You're playing dumb. You guys criticize Putin for going after his political enemies. So now Trump is saying that he's like Navalny because Biden's going after his political enemies. And that point, even though he said it in a clownish way, is a devastating point to your guys' argument. So you guys see how they got played dumb?
Also, he says, I hope the Democrats are going to call him out for this. Isn't that all the Democrats ever do?
Yeah.
Isn't that's all they talk about? He's anti-American. He blames America. He says we do bad things.
bro, this
He
is
makes
the
us
best
feel
campaign
bad.
ad for Trump I've ever seen. I don't fuck with Trump, but this is a great campaign ad. Trump is anti-American. He's explaining how we kill people. You mean he's saying facts, bro, that hurt your
Right.
feelings?
Right.
This is so fucking interesting to me because I told you guys, me and CJ, we watch this shit like comedy now. Like, I didn't watch
That's the thing.
media.
Like, you guys are some of the only people in this space who do these kind of deep dives into segments like this, because I think you're the only people who can actually tolerate watching this. Like, it wouldn't even occur to me to watch a 7-minute CNN video. Like, I would just bypass that. Like, if something comes across my like Twitter feed that's like 2 minutes, I'll watch it. But like this, I would never have found this. You're right. This is a great clip, but I would have never have found this.
It's pure comedy to me that this works on Americans.
Yeah.
They have Rachel Maddow libs, Anderson Cooper libs are watching this shit like fucking Putin, fucking Trump.
Yeah, no, they get worked up over a fucking frenzy. These people, these fucking libs are out there talking about some golden sneakers. What happened? Trump sold a pair of golden sneakers to a guy, a MAGA supporter, spent a lot of money on some golden shoes that Trump sold to pay for what's going on. I don't even know. Is that the story? Does anybody in the chat know or care? I don't know. I guarantee you.
I'm a big fan of nature documentaries. You know what I mean? I love nature documentaries. You know what I mean? Well, fucking online be fucking motherfuckers up. You know what I mean? So it's like I love watching nature in it's formed without being interfered by humans. You know what I mean? It's like watching nature. That's why I like watching CNN. It's like watching watching the propagandists in their natural environment.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why. I know I'm weird. I tell you guys, I'm a nerd. I view this propaganda shit as fucking hilarious. But let's continue his rant and we wrap up after this video.
It's anti-American crap that needs to be called out.
I mean, he's suggesting that his legal troubles are a kind of Navalny. I guess he's trying to use that phrase to suggest I don't know what. But the idea that his legal troubles, based on allegations, some of which include grand jury indictments, are somehow analogous to what has happened to Navalny, who, by the way,
you guys realize that Navalny is being processed through the Russian legal system, right? So her argument is, we're not going after our political opponents. We're going through the legal system. You mean like Nicolas Maduro? You mean like Putin? So you guys notice how they get upset at countries, and you guys and people who are brainwashed, you guys hate countries for enforcing their laws.
Right.
So now Navalny betrayed his people to the CIA and took bribes to launch a color revolution, which is highly illegal. So they're upset because Russia enforced their laws on that. Anyway, let's continue.
We still don't know the full circumstances of his death, but on that point, there is some exclusive reporting tonight that CNN has that Biden is actually directing some of his senior aides, Maria, to focus more aggressively on Trump and the inflammatory comments.
Oh,
because
good. Wow.
Forgotten, wanting him to.
It's about time.
Make sure they know all that he is saying. Is that the
about
right
time the Democrats start talking shit about Donald Trump?
We know liberals been weak on Trump. They keep letting that Trump issue slip, man. I don't know why. I'm sorry, this segment went way long out planned, but this shit is fucking funny, man. Especially when someone got to do distance house with us. Let's continue.
The right strategy. And I'm glad that they're doing it. I hope that he leans full on 180,000% into it, because we are, I think, at a point where all of the energy and the mobilization right now is.
Dr. Cornel West thinks these people are more serious than us. Like all these people who demonize YouTubers, these people sound like children to me. Talking about politics. They talk about like a team sport, bro. Meanwhile, Dr. Cornel West in the POC class, they look down on YouTubers and people who do citizen journalism as if we're supposed to leave a monopoly of journalism to these bumbling idiots.
It's a great pleasure to be in precious conversation with my dear brother, Joe Walsh. Yeah.
That's probably what you'd be saying. I'm sorry. I'll let finish. I'm sorry to take your time, okay, but let's finish this up and I'll get super chats and wrap
full on 180,000% into it, because we are, I think, at a point where all of the energy and the mobilization right now is on the Republican side, because they're the ones who are having this crazy primary. But I do think that we have to remind people what Trump did in his first 4 years.
You guys wasn't doing that enough, apparently.
He has not been shy in saying he would do if he gets another 4 years, if he gets another chance at the White House. And, voters are focused on their own lives. And there is this kind of voter, not necessarily apathy, but sort of forgetfulness of what it was that Trump did, what he said every single day, the chaos, the crazy, the confusion, the criminality, the cruelty that he brought and will continue to bring.
Laura, he says Trump's magic is, he says,
you guys thought he was done? Wait till you guys see this. So one more thing I'm gonna say when we finish this video, you guys notice how they don't say this to show you guys their class antagonisms, as I explained earlier. They don't say Donald Trump is such a threat. We must do something to get the American people to rally behind us. I know we ideologically opposed to like Medicare for all, increasing wages, but Trump is so dangerous. We got to concede something. You know how they never do that? That's how I knew from day one. This is why I never fell for Trump derangement syndrome. Because if Trump was as dangerous as they said, they will make concessions. They don't, though. They just want us to fear Trump, and vote against your interests. Vote for a genocide because you should be afraid of Trump. We're not going to do anything for you guys, though.
If Trump were smart, he would, if he wanted to troll these people, for 1 week, Trump should say, when asked about these fucking things like Navalny in this case, or, whatever the next issue comes up that the libs care a lot about, he should, for 1 week, say exactly what they would want a president to say. He should say the least offensive thing that he possibly can for 1 week, just to see what they would criticize him for in absence of this bullshit. Because they're with him on Israel. They're with him on the border now. They were going to give him everything he wanted on the border in exchange for Ukraine money. So these people actually don't oppose anything that Trump is going to do. They oppose the way he postures. So for 1 week, as an experiment, Donald, just as a troll, because I know you're watching, Donald. I know you're a fan of RBN, Donald. If you're watching, Donald, for 1 week, just say exactly what they would want you to say. Just out of curiosity, just as an experiment to see how they would come at you. Because I don't think they could.
This is our brother Rome. You guys know how he does fantastic work, my dear, dear brother. He said, bruh, these people have college degrees. How are they this dumb? And remember, this segment justifies exactly what I said. These Ivy League educations, these bourgeoisie college institutions, having those degrees does not make you smart. It means you memorized American propaganda.
Of course.
You a good little bookworm. You gotta know I was never good at school. You gotta know I was like a C student. That shit didn't appeal to me. That shit didn't appeal to me at all. That's not how I learned. It's very unnatural. Rockefeller, I try not to get on another rant. I'll be really short. But Rockefeller literally said he designed our school system to create worker ants. Obedient worker ants. They strip you from your critical thinking. So the people who are good bookworms, all A students, 4.0 GPA, they are literally the people who had the least critical thinking. These are the people who call a Nazi brother Navalny.
100%.
They have no critical thinking skills. High education robs them of that. That's why you have highly educated bourgeoisie, lawyers, scholars. These people think they're smarter than us. They watch this same segment and they like, man, this is some groundbreaking news right here. Their brain is shattered. Academia shatters their brain to the point where they view this shit as real news. I cut myself off there. Sorry.
No one who can tolerate homework past the age of 22 is a smart person. If you're an adult and you're still doing homework, I'm sorry, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking moron.
Oh my god, dude! I was naturally rebellious. That led to me being a fucking revolutionary, right? I'm like,
no, at a certain point, you don't like.
Get the fuck out of here,
smart
bro.
People past a certain point do not like being told what to do anymore. Like I hit the point. Like when I was 18, I dropped out of college. I don't have any sort of college degree at all. No associates, no nothing. Past a certain point, a smart person does not like being ordered around what to fucking do. Go home, read 20 pages, come back, tell me, fuck you. Like, at a certain point, if you're an adult, you can't tolerate that anymore.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Let's continue. As much as I want to rant on that point, let's continue.
The cruelty that he brought and will continue to bring.
Laura, he says Trump's magic is, he says 179 cruel, ugly, intolerant, anti-American things a day. And so our eyes just glaze over. And the American people need to be reminded about it constantly.
But I do wonder, the polling suggests that assuming they don't have amnesia, that's who his base wants.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
know who he is and they embrace it. So is there some level of patronizing that's going on to suggest, well, if I just remind you who he is, maybe then you wouldn't support him? They know who he is and they support him.
Most of them do. I'm talking about the great swath of people in the middle. And by the way, the current president has an issue. A lot of voters have a problem and consider him unacceptable because of his age. He's got to deal with that. But now you've got all these undecided voters who do know that Trump's unacceptable. They worry that Biden's unacceptable. Biden needs to remind them of why he's unacceptable.
And that's exactly what this campaign, the general election campaign that we were just talking about earlier, is going to be all about. It's going to be about this contrast between Joe Biden, a man who is there, he gets another 4 years, he wants to continue to boost the economy for everyone, protect our rights and freedoms, protect our democracy, and Donald Trump, who is a fraudster, a sex offender, a wannabe dictator, and is in it all for himself.
I want to hear Biden say, I'm tired of Donald Trump bad-mouthing America.
Yeah, because that's going to do it, my friends.
He said, I think he said literally that 100 times. I'm pretty sure he said exactly that at least 50 times publicly.
Oh, boy.
Maybe Matt Orfala could do a supercut of that, of how many times Biden said that exact same thing. I'm positive he said it.
If only Biden says that he would win in a landslide, you will see these poll numbers turn around immediately, Keaton. As soon as he say he would say Trump is anti-American, and we would just wake up like, oh, we feel it right in our bones. That was truth. I know I opposed the genocide before.
Well,
but now I've heard that Trump is anti-American. Now I'm all for Jim Crow Joe.
I mean, you just have to remember who's watching this. The people watching this are people who can afford cable, right? They're older. They're better off. Like people who watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox, they're not people with actual problems. And so they're not people who have any real sense or care for any actual like issues that may affect your life. Like they're saying, people just aren't, why are people forgetting what Donald Trump said or didn't say about Alexei Navalny? As if anyone is going to vote based on that. But in their mind, that is a legitimate issue for their voters because their voters tend to just be wealthier people who, don't really care very much about the price of milk or eggs or whatever. Doesn't really affect them. And I mean, completely indifferent to what's going on now, Gaza, Ukraine. They just don't give a shit about that. And so that's why you have those kind of segments because they're just putting on a show for the audience, right? That's why, if you notice, like I said earlier, they didn't address a single comment that Trump made in the town hall. Not a single one. Not a single one. They knew they had to come out and say Trump is pro-Putin and he's anti-American. And this is highly offensive to the American people, and the Democrats have to go out and remind voters of that. They would have said that no matter what Trump said in that town hall. It mattered not a lick.
I'm going to ask you guys one question. What do you learn from that segment?
Right.
Like if you're watching CNN, what do you gain net intelligence listening to that? Like, do you got new information? Like, there's information that you didn't have before that you have now? Like, no. I explained this before. The people who call RBN grifters like Dr. Cornel West, you guys realize we would have 1 million subscribers if I told people to vote for Trump? Like we was like black, like the Hodge twins, you know who they are? Millionaires. Terrence Williams, what his name is, that black Trumper, millionaire. If you're a grifter, you're black and you tell people to vote for Republican and Democrat. What I do is I try to pull people to my side. I inform people. To me, there's literally no point of doing this if I'm just doing this. Put my hand in the air, see where the wind blowing, like most content creators. What I do, I try to influence people. Like on the last Nick at Night, I did my monthly DPRK North Korea rant because I want to expose people everything you've been told about North Korea is a lie. And a lot of people reached out to me and told me that, hey, I told them so they didn't know, like the weed and beer culture in North Korea, the fact that they provide housing to their people. Do you guys know that they had, and there's a story, I'm going to maybe do a segment on this. For some reason, their farmers made a mistake and they grew too much food one time. where they had this peach surplus. Like way too many fucking peaches they grew and other products. You know what they did? They freely distributed all the surplus food that they grew. That is a common policy in the DPRK. Whenever there's surpluses, they feed the people. What do we do in the United States? Restaurants waste billions of dollars of food.
Yeah, and they
All of
fire
it.
workers who actually give them to the homeless. If you actually feed the homeless with the leftover food, you can get fired for that.
DPRK provide housing to people. They give people food based on their surpluses. They do the best to provide their people, despite the fact that they got giant Western governments sanctioning them. So my question to people in America who love this country but hate North Korea, who's sanctioning us? What's our excuse for Skid Row? What's our excuse for not having healthcare, which is provided in North Korea, by the way? And what I do is I humanize people and I have people reach out to me like, oh, I didn't know none of this stuff about North Korea. For real, there's an article, man, I can find it. Like the beer culture and weed is legal in North Korea. You know, the authoritarian country they try to tell you about. Weed is legal. People openly sell and distribute weed in North Korea. In fact, Kim Jong-un is a big weed head. You guys know that? He's a big 420 guy. You don't know that because, people don't humanize our enemies here. People think North Korea is just some fucking hellscape. No, it's not. It's not a perfect country, but everything you was told, and I mean everything about North Korea is false. Every single thing.